multi-bed in the corner there, putting that back on the T6. T6 quite likes the multi-bed. Going through the multi-bed afterwards, we're then getting that depth. We were only double ridging because we didn't have the multi-bed beforehand. So, you know, we're trying out a lot of different things at the minute, really, just to try and get this right. It's still a little bit of a pig. Big problem we seem to be having with the de-stoner is even after the culty bed, it's still quite cloddy. You still get bits about that big, and that doesn't fall through a web, so that's going with the stones, which isn't great. You know, it's not really what you want to be doing, but it's just creating a bigger pile which you then have to drive through again. So that, as well as the straw. Some of this straw is still a foot long, so the combine really didn't have a good day when they cut here. It's just mass that's building up in between the ridges, which is making the de-stoning job a little bit harder, but we're getting there a little bit more. It's just a shame that the rear not elevator, rear web that shoots it off one side or the other, it's a shame that's broken, because that would have been good to have gotten on with some de-stoning, because, you know, by the end of today I shall probably just stay on the subsoiler until Dad gets back with the parts for the subsoiler. He's gone all the way to Boston. I'd have thought he'd been back by now, but he might be close, I don't know. I'd ring him, except I've broken my phone. Yeah, that wasn't very clever of me, was it? Chloe was kind enough to come out at lunchtime to bring me a spare phone, so I'm actually using her old phone, which is all well and good, but I only have her as a contact and I only remember the office number. So everybody can ring me still, that's fine. So how did I break my phone? Well, I was in John Deere driving up here and seat started getting a bounce on. And of course, I like these flappy electrician pockets. So what did the phone do? It just jumped out and fell on the floor. And yeah, that's really not good. That's the first time I've ever properly broken a phone like that, and then the screen stops working. Because like I've cracked screens before, but you still work it and it's still fine. So yeah, I'm really gutted. But never mind, at least I haven't subsoiled it like I did with this camera I'm currently holding. Right then, I am expecting my poor use of a power shift gearbox to let me down here, because I feel like this could be a little bit tight. So if I try and work out a nice angle to drive at first, and we'll probably start in this corner. Draw a line down the middle and we'll work one side or the other. Yeah, something like that. Right then. Time to grab some levers, and now I am going to pull the wrong lever first. That was the blue one, and I forget these are the wrong way around, as mentioned earlier. That's the wrong one. That's the wrong way. Right then, we're going full depth. This is what's needed. So we're going for the plunge and we're going crossways, so broken in at what we would normally consider normal depth, but because it's so tight and horrible and cloddy, we're going full depth. How are the points looking? I'll tell you what, they don't look bad. Well, on we go then. I've been driving this 230 with the power shift for a good couple of hours now, pretty much all afternoon, and I think I'm very much in love with this gearbox. Now that I've really gotten used to it, can listen out for all the little note changes and stuff, you know, when to expect like a tight bit where I've got to interfere with the automatic side, you know, just staying a step ahead of the gearbox. I can safely say, yeah, I really love this gearbox. It's fantastic. At the minute I'm just sort of nipping around doing long breeds like that, and yeah, now that I'm used to it, I really enjoy this gearbox. With one criticism though, it's only a left hand forward and reverse. If that had the buttons here for forward and reverse as well, this would be absolutely fantastic. Great fun to drive. But it's never going to be an auto command. But it is very satisfying, especially when I don't stall it. Go on, you bugger. Yeah, there you go. The last, like, semi-power shift we had on the farm that I properly drove would have been the fast track, because that's more like a gearbox with 4 ranges in between, if I remember correctly. That would have been the last time I properly had to drive a power shift more of this nature, because the New Holland we used to have on a power shift, I didn't really drive it that often. That was when I was sort of in high school, you know, GCSEs, just never really got to drive it. But yeah, I like it. It's making me think the fast track a little bit. It's just a different style of driving compared to the auto command, because when you're so used to automatic gearboxes in tractors now, like mainly like front run, that ain't the right word. I think since the Fencer got more popular, automatic transmissions have become more and more popular as well, because that was like one of the big selling points of a Fen. They had such a reliable automatic gearbox. They are so versatile for what we do. That's why we have them, because we need them just for all that like torque and possibilities throughout every speed. It's not very often we creep it past, you know, below half a K. But when you do, it's still impressive at how that still manages to put power down. Whereas this, I don't know what the lowest this does, because for some reason this lone tractor's in miles per hour, and I'm not very good at conversions. But well, let's just do an experiment now. When we set back in, I'll put it in bottom gear and see what that comes out as. And then editing Lewis is going to have to do some conversions. Let's get set, lined up, set in. Right. Oh, that's another thing as well. When you get to the bottom gear or the top gear, it beeps. Don't know why I find that brilliant. Right, let's set her in. Let's put the revs on. Let's see what bottom gear does. Bottom gear on this RPM is 0.9 miles an hour. How interesting. Editing Lewis. What's that in K? Now I've got to get up to actual working speed. Engage the auto again, and she's happy. But no, I can safely say yes, she's a fairly low spec tractor, but I really am enjoying having a power shift again. It sounds silly, but you know, it's good fun for cultivation like this. Right, on the road it weren't too bad either. Like I said, it's just remembering how to use one after you've been, you know, easily past 5 years, just driving nothing but auto powers, and then auto commands, and then on the John Deere's having just simple gear stick. Now it is a different way of driving, because the little John Deere's don't get draft work. It's very different. I like it though. It's been real nice to revisit PowerShift. Anyway, we all go check up on Dad, because he's been destoning a little while now. Well, Dad's now back in the field with the spare part, and as you can see at the bottom there, it's back on, and he seems quite excited to give it a go. That was meant to be my job today, but he wants to have a go and make sure we're running as good as we can be. So I'll quite happily keep playing with the old PowerShift. Actually really enjoying it. Shush. I was speaking to my mate, the DJ, Michael, and I've got to remember to take the handbrake off. That's the only thing I've got to remember. And pretty much, oh, he's very big into his New Hollands, by the way. If there is a feature on a New Holland he doesn't know, it's not worth playing with. Very big fan. But anyway, he was telling me, if you actually look back, this style of PowerShift first came in on the TM series. So I had a look at some pictures, and this near enough is exactly the same as TM. That is definitely the same, and that is definitely the same. Just how brilliant is that? Just keeping them gearboxes still going, because they just still work. But thinking about it though, makes complete sense from a manufacturer side of view. I mean, if you've got a gearbox which is bulletproof, rated for a couple of 100 horsepower, you're going to keep using it, aren't you? There's no need to redevelop it. Exactly the same as the power quad in the John Deere's. That power quad's been about since the early 90s, and that's still found in the modern John Deere's today, up to I think the biggest you can get that in is a 6.215 R series. Although I don't really know how the numbers work now, because I know they brought out a new cab, which wasn't really a new cab, it was just they'd put the dashboard somewhere different and they got excited. But anyway, we'll leave brand politics out of it. But yeah, this is a TM from what he was saying. So I just find that neat. So we'll just get back onto the subsoil. I'm now full depth going crossways, you can see it there. And don't want to say too much because I'll probably jinx it and do a big wiggle, but I've nearly got perfect straight lines. It just takes a little bit of time getting used to it again, that's all. But rest assured, as soon as I get RTK back on, yeah, I'm using that.